enough times.
Kevin Penning likes to be a captain. He doesn't want to have...
He's trying to get out of the camera. Is that what this is all about?
That's right.
Nothing to do with his laptop. Right?
Running.
Welcome everybody to another edition of TalkingWithHeroes.com talk show program. I am your host, Bob Calvert, and also our online news site, thankyoufforyourservice.us. And before I get started with this news segment, I want to thank the people that made it possible for me to come back here so fast. The first trip to Afghanistan was April and May, and then I was just in Iraq, and now we're back here in September 2010 in Afghanistan. Blackhawk.com, Newsblaze.com, MilitaryConnection.com, FreedomHunters.org, LauraBurgess.com, Number5Jump.com, SoldiersAngels.org, and BroadbandForAmerica.com. And we're here, as most of you know if you've been watching the previous videos on YouTube. We're here in Afghanistan again, and we're at Fob Lion. We're in Panjshir Province, and we've been talking with people working with the Provincial Reconstruction Team, Panjshir. And so we're now going to be talking to the director of the Panjshir PRT and Lt Col James Briggs. You can just turn that button. Okay, we'll just switch her. Make sure you keep it close, okay? Make sure that button's up too. Okay, well, I'm going to welcome you both to TalkingWithHeroes.com. And if we could start out, William Swift, if you could just share a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been working for the Department of State, and a little bit about what you do here.
Thank you. My name is Bill Martin, and I am a career Foreign Service Officer with the Department of State. I've been here in Afghanistan for 7 weeks. I'm the director of the Panjshir PRT. I'm from Washington, D.C. My family lives in just outside Washington, and I'm served in Pakistan, Kenya, Czech Republic, Nepal, and now here, in addition to jobs in Washington. I'm delighted to be here.
Okay. And Lt Col James Briggs, welcome to Talking with Heroes. If you could introduce yourself, talk a little bit about how long you've served and where you're from.
Okay. Good morning. I'm Lt Col J. Briggs. And first I'd like to thank you, Bob, for hosting this and for your gracious donors to make it affordable for you to come out here to do this. You're doing a great thing for our soldiers, airmen, sailors, Marines, and appreciate it. Thank you. I'm from the upstate New York in the Adirondacks and moved out to Washington State, and I was a history teacher for some years at Cleveland, Washington. And now I'm a Title 10 Army National Guard, Title 10 officer at National Guard Bureau. And I'm absolutely blessed to be here in Panjshir with the great Panjshiris and the great Americans that are here supporting our efforts.
How long have you served?
20 years, and I look forward to serving as long as they'll let me do this.
Okay. I mentioned this before we went on the air, but I guess I'll start with it. Your predecessor, I'd like to thank him, Colonel Velasquez. He called in on my program earlier, and sorry to miss him, but...
Yeah, he is, he currently, Lt Col Kurt Velasquez is in Capisa, and he is in a whole different province, and there's a whole bunch of different issues that he's working through right now and just doing great work. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you also.
Okay. If you could start out and describe, whichever one you want to start, what is a Provincial Reconstruction Team?
Well, I'm going to hand it over to the director here.
Okay, great.
Or else he'll elbow me.
The Provincial Reconstruction Team is a civil military organization unique to Afghanistan and Iraq. It's a way in which development and governance is done through a civil military group which in some provinces, most provinces of this country at least, also provides security. In the case of the Provincial Reconstruction Team in Panjshir, the Panjshiris are providing the security. So the focus here is on governance and development. As I said, it's a combination of different agencies and also different branches of the service in the Department of Defense. We have Department of Defense, Department of State, U.S. Department of Agriculture, and U.S. Agency for International Development. A number of civilians, Americans, expatriates, and local nationals working together in a team to help develop this wonderful province.
Okay, and now there are 34 provinces in Afghanistan, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and when I first came over here this recent time, I was told that Panjshir is one of, what, 6 or 7 provinces where there's a lot of progress happening because the security is better. Is that correct?
Well, I can't speak for all the provinces. I know this province in particular, I'm sure there's progress being made across Afghanistan, thanks to the Afghans, and we're trying to help them to make that progress. But I can say that in Panjshir, which is the one province I know, that there has been tremendous progress, first and foremost by the Afghans themselves. The reason we're here and the reason we're able to be here is because of the success that the Afghans have had in ensuring security and providing for their people. And we're trying to help them to do that even more. And they have been making progress, and there have been big changes that have gone on here since 2001, since the Taliban was routed from Afghanistan, and since 2005 when the PRT first came here.
Okay, and I've been reading a little bit of the history of Panjshir, how they basically led the way in fighting the Soviets and then the Taliban.
Well, I think there's some other provinces that might claim to have been the first
okay.
in opposition to the
Okay.
Soviets. I think some of there are some that might claim that distinction. But certainly one of the most important of the Mujahideen leaders, he's a national hero, Ahmad Shah Massoud. This is his valley. And the Panjshiris are rightfully proud of the work that they did to fight the Soviets. The Soviets never were able to take this valley. There were 9 campaigns, all ultimately unsuccessful. They also prevented the Taliban from coming into this valley. So the Panjshiris have a very glorious, and they're suitably proud of their history as to defend this territory and to help Afghanistan.
As we have the anniversary of 9/11 come up, the Panjshir people have the anniversary of his assassination, right?
That's right. The Ahmad Shah Massoud was assassinated 2 days before 9/11, and it was a huge blow. However, the people of Panjshir continued to rally and to fight the Taliban, took the fight to the Taliban immediately after 9/11, worked closely with the U.S. and then with the broader coalition to defeat the Taliban, and they continue to help ensure that this valley and the broader country remains independent and free.
Okay, thank you. Lieutenant Colonel, if you could talk about your troops here. You have a combination. You have Army, Air Force, and of course the civilians. Talk about just some of the great things they're doing here with the reconstruction, the missions they go on, and everything.
You bet. As you touched on, we have many components. We have active Army, we have Army National Guard, Army Reserve, we have active Air Force, and they work closely with our ANSF brothers in the valley, and also with the local leaders and the provincial members in Panjshir, and they're doing wonderful things every day, based on what Mr. Martin just explained, and the security that we enjoy in this valley, based on the great Mujahids and the Panjshir people. We're able to go out and work with the people on a daily basis, anywhere up to 20 missions a week, which is very high in Afghanistan, and we're doing, from helping out with civil affairs, with engineer work, with public health, to helping the ANP, the police, getting them trained up, and and the soldiers that